Right, good afternoon everybody. Welcome to this short Disruptive Innovation Festival session. My name is Mike Roby. I'm the Sustainable Electricals Programme Manager at RAP and I'm the project lead for REBus.
And my name is Gerard Fisher. I'm the Circular Economy Specialist at RAP.
Great, okay. Well, before we start our session, I just want to briefly encourage you to, if you have any questions as we progress through this session, please do shout out. So through the DIF website on our session page, you can pose questions there. Also through Google Hangouts as well, if you have a Gmail account. And finally, the third option to reach us is through our Twitter account at the link at REBus Live. So please do raise any questions as they come up, and we'll pause during this session to pick up any questions that come through. Okay. So what's this session all about? Well, the question we're posing is, are resource-efficient business models really disruptive? I mean, what's clear is we are seeing resource-efficient business models transform the market. They are providing new opportunities to create value for businesses and changing the way that customers, whether they're business or consumers, interact with products. So how do we access products? How do we access the services that products provide? And also ultimately, when we no longer have a use for a product, what options are available to us at the end? So clearly there are significant changes in the marketplace happening. But from RAP's experience, we don't think actually these business models are disruptive. So this session seeks to dispel that myth by showing some insight and practical examples. We're going to take you through our tried and tested approach this afternoon, which will show how business models can really thrive and really share with you learning about how some of the key factors for success will appear very familiar and actually quite common to typical change management or new product or service development activity within organizations. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw on some of the learning from the REBus project. The REBus project is a 3.5-year European funded project working through a consortium of 5 partners across the UK and the Netherlands and led by RAP. The REBus project is all about developing, testing and piloting resource-efficient business models with a combination of large companies, with SMEs, and also with procurers of products and services. And through the project, we are testing a methodology that will support businesses in developing and implementing these business models. We're about halfway through the project now, and we're at a really exciting turning point where the first group of pilots that we've supported have now come to fruition and are being tested in the marketplace. And also the very first couple of projects that have gone beyond pilot phase and have now been rolled out into the marketplace has taken place. So it's a really exciting point. And as we move into 2016, the project will move into a new phase where we're sharing guidance and learning from the projects to really help support you on embarking on your own business model journey. So perhaps, Gerard, you could start by kicking off and showing a little bit more detail about the sorts of business models that REBus is focusing on.
Okay, so what we normally take companies through is a bit of a journey to circularity, and this is a breakdown of business models that we use. There are different ways of doing this, but what we find is if we work with companies on trying to shift perhaps to a service system too quickly, that is too disruptive for a company and they struggle to do it. They struggle to do it successfully. So what we do is we take them on a journey from a linear model through to circularity, and we can step them through this model with long life products being the first option, then looking at models that reuse assets. So maybe they have assets internally that they can redistribute. Then we can move on to perhaps incentivizing return of products. So their customers may have finished with a product, but they can incentivize return some way. Maybe that's cash, maybe that's a different form of value that they can extract. And from there, then they can understand the case for moving on to rental, hire or leasing. and finally onto service systems. And the thing that we find with this model is the further you go to the right, the long life options, they're the easier things to do. But actually the more circular systems tend to preserve more value, create more value, and also increase the barrier to your competitors taking customers away from you. So it's really in a company's interest to be as radical as it can, but it's got to approach it in a way that makes sense for it as a business.
Great, thanks. So from our experience, we're finding that implementing business models change essentially follows a typical new products or service development process. So perhaps, Gerald, you can talk us through the methodology we use to deliver this business model success.
Yeah. Okay, so again, we try and keep it as simple as we can. And what we do is we follow a fairly simple process. We explain to the companies what it is we're taking them through. And first of all, there's a really serious amount of engagement required with the company to make sure that we get the right people involved in a project. You've got to get things like senior support, senior management support for the project you're doing. And then you can embark on this journey of, first of all, an innovative stage. So coming up with ideas, testing those out, and then passing them through what we call a feasibility filter, if you like. So you boil that down to a few ideas that sound good, they sound credible. And you've got to really work those up in a bit more detail to understand how they'll work. Then you can move on to a business case. And normally, given the resources you've got available, you've only got a chance to take one option through to business case stage. But that's when you really go to town. You do a full analysis. You need to understand the customer journey. What's it going to look like for your customer? What's your operating model? Well, how are you going to actually deliver that business case to the customer? And then what do the commercials look like for that? What's the market intelligence telling you about how this is going to work? What is the financial case? What's the profit, the payback period, all of that stuff. Once you understand that, then you can take it to pilot. And it's really important to find a safe way to pilot a project. Maybe you're doing it in a limited region or a couple of stores or a couple of facilities that you have. You've got to find a way to prove this actually works. And then once you've got that proof, you've got your business case is robust, you've got proof that you can actually operate the model, then you can go to scale up and evaluate the impacts. And so if you take a step-by-step approach, it really helps companies to break this down more clearly.
Great, thanks. And so kind of drawing on the experience to date, how would you boil down, what are the key factors for success?
I think the main thing would be make sure this fits with your company's strategy. And this is the big challenge for disruption. It's easy to think of a disruptive model, but actually, if it doesn't fit with your company's strategy, you're swimming upstream. You've got a battle on your hands. So try and pick something that fits first. You've got to get the right team in place. You've got to have the right resource on the project. And through REBus, obviously, we help support some of that resource, but not every company can do that. So they need to find the right expertise and the right people to help them out. Expertise and knowledge are important too. So getting your market research in place, understanding that there is an appetite for this work, for this, what the new proposition is. And then, you've got to be innovative. You do have to think outside the box. But what I'd encourage companies to do is to develop the way they would do products, that have a product development pipeline, sort of R&D. You could do that with your business models. You can have a business development R&D pipeline. And that's really quite a powerful thing, because then you can work out, what the next best opportunity is. And once you've done that one, you know where you're going next, rather than having to repeat innovation, come up with ideas that don't feel like they fit very well. But overall, you've really got to retain a strong commercial focus. At the end of the day, you're trying to introduce a business model. It has to make sense for your business. So you've got to prove it's going to make money.
Yeah, and actually that's a really good point just to focus on for a moment, which is around how these business models can generate value for the business. And I guess ultimately it boils down to generating revenue and potentially creating additional income streams too. So I guess what we're looking at here is, first of all, with your existing customer base, how through the development of services around your products, you can kind of broaden and deepen that interaction with your customers beyond a single transaction, a purchase of a product, to actually looking at those services that can be provided over a series of time and maintaining and building that relationship with your customer. And then I guess the second opportunity, the exciting one too, is also looking at how potentially there's scope through adopting these business models to enter into new markets too. So this could be growing your customer base by, for example, if you're trading in product, buying back products from your existing customers, and through a refurbishment process, creating a new product range that essentially can be then sold to a new market segment that perhaps you're not currently reaching.
Yes.
So kind of both of those angles give you opportunities to generate additional footfall, additional contact with your customers. And of course, the other aspect that we shouldn't forget, of course, is through the kind of resource efficient focus of these business models, there's an opportunity to improve product sustainability and contribute to those corporate sustainability goals. Okay, well, I'll just pause for a moment before we move on to the next theme, which is really just to a little reminder, and for those who perhaps weren't with us right at the very start, please do feel free to raise any questions as we go through this 30-minute discussion. The opportunities are through the DIF website, through the session page. You please do raise any questions there. Failing that, there's also, if you're a Gmail account user, to use the Google Hangout facility, and of course through the REBus Projects Twitter account, which is @REBusLife. So please don't be shy and ask away your questions. But perhaps now let's briefly run through some examples that have come through our business models work. Do you want to kick off, Joe, perhaps with Bandvolk?
Yeah, so this is a company we worked with a few years ago, and actually with working with companies like Bandvolk is how we helped to start developing the REBus methodology in the first place. So Bandvolk is a company based in the southwest of England. They ran, and they still do run, a traditional tyre retreading operation. So this is about taking truck tyres, it's not car tyres, it's major vehicle tyres, reprocessing those, retreading them and getting them back onto trucks again. So, you know, a really good circular model. It's up there with reuse, refurbishment and remanufacturing. Yep. So what we did with Bandvolk was we investigated two different types of business model with them. One of them was incentivized return. Yeah. So could they give some value back to their customers to get the used tyres back? And that's, you know, that's valuable core for their process. That's stuff they can retread. And then the second one was looking at a really more adventurous, more ambitious service system. And what was really great about this and effectively, you know, we built a really strong commercial case. We could figure out how, by incentivizing customer mile service, for example, you know, they could create much more value out of their model, and they could share some of that value with their customers. And so then chain.
Great. Excellent. Well, GlobeChain is another fantastic example. So GlobeChain was founded to help companies manage and donate unwanted assets in a very simple and convenient way. So the approach they've taken is really to understand the challenges that companies face, particularly large companies, perhaps operating on multiple sites, on how to find a convenient and simple way to connect surplus equipment, office furniture, electrical equipment, and so on, with local good causes that could benefit from the use of those unwanted assets. The challenge many of these companies faced was, of course, the administrative burden of each individual site trying to make connections with providers. So the beauty of the GlobeChain approach is they've created a platform with now, I think, over 10,000 contacts, both providing sources of unwanted assets and also organisations that really have a need to access these products. So providing an online facility that takes away the inconvenience and provides a really smooth and consistent approach for being able to redistribute unwanted products and get them into reuse. And of course, this this delivers a great environmental benefit too. It takes away the risk of products going into disposal, whether that's into a recycling stream or landfill. So in terms of what were the keys to success? Well, as the points Jared's already illustrated as really critical themes, having the right team in place has been absolutely critical. And May Al-Karouni, the founder of GlobeChain, has been an absolute driving force. She's got a very clear focus on the financial model underpinning the service that GlobeChain provides, and really that clear understanding of what the problem was, what the challenge for these major companies was in limiting their ability to donate surplus assets in a convenient and cost-effective way to other routes. So that really clear understanding, having that focus was absolutely critical. And the second element to draw out really is understanding the key skills that were required to make this business model a success. So around the technical skills to develop the online platform, the simple interface that has made it so convenient for organisations to use. So again, a great example of a business model that's come through to the market. So Gerard, back to you to share some learning from Argos.
Okay, so that's a couple of great examples from smaller companies. This is the largest company we've worked with that's actually put a business model out there in the market as a result of our project. We're really pleased with this one. This is a great example. And this is Argos. They're a leading digital retailer in the UK. People outside the UK may be familiar with them as well. And effectively what they've done is they've developed a trade-in program for products. So this is a retailer that's normally used to just selling products, if you like. You know, as all retailers are, they're focused on pushing products in one direction. And this one is actually now offered nationwide, so almost 800 stores actually. The customer can walk in with their mobile device, mobile phone or a tablet, and get an instant valuation. And Argos will give them that value on a card, and that gadget will then go off to be fully refurbished. It will have the data will be eradicated from it, and then it will be sold on to the market again, whether that's in the UK or further afield. But the whole point is the product retains its value and the product gets reused again. It doesn't just go off for recycling unless it's completely damaged and can't be reused again. So Argos rolled this out in the middle of 2015, and I think, you know, the really exciting stuff about this was, you know, it really was about the internal ambassadors. So we worked with a couple of people, Megan Kitchen and Nadim Arshad at Argos. They were real driving forces for this change, but they understood the teams they needed to pull in around them and be champions for this cause. And when you work with a big company, you tend to find that actually there's lots of people who are kind of thinking about this project, but they need a vehicle to get it going. And we were able to give them that one big project that they could get behind and support. Again, you know, this really fit well with the company's strategy. They want to be a leading digital retailer, and this is driving the use and reuse of digital products and technology. So it fits really nicely with that message, which helps you get support at a senior level. And, you know, getting the right skills and knowledge again, so the market research that we were able to bring along and put together with the data they already had gave a really compelling case for how that was going to work. Again, we've got a video of this one, and you can check that out on our website after we finish the Hangout.
Fantastic. Great. Okay. Well, I'll use this kind of quick pause where hopefully the three examples we've shared have been really valuable insight to you, and hopefully provided some inspiration on your own journey. Just before I summarise, just one more plug really, that if you do have questions that are starting to come through from what you've heard so far today, please do feel free to raise questions through the session page on the DIF website, either during the session or immediately afterwards, and similarly through Google Hangouts or through the REBus Twitter feed. Okay, so to summarise what we've been discussing this morning, business models don't have to be disruptive. It's clear they are transforming the market. They are changing the way that products are brought onto the market, how customers interact with products, how they secure the services that products provide, and of course, the opportunities available when products are no longer wanted. But what we're hearing is actually some fairly standard success factors apply in terms of making these business models a success. And the REBus project is really starting to tease out more and more examples through use of the methodology we're following of how to achieve that. So just recapping on those key messages that Gerard has shared with us today. Number one, ensuring you've got a strong fit with your corporate strategy is absolutely fundamental. Building that right team, so having the right resource in place to deliver the work. Ensuring you've got senior management commitment into the project, particularly with that strong commercial focus. Thinking outside of the box to explore opportunities and really understanding what is right for your business. And of course, then accessing the right skills required at each stage of the business model development and implementation to achieve that. And you can find out, excuse me, more guidance around embarking on your own business model journey through the REBus website. So please do take a look. Gerard, perhaps back over to you for some final thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, you can start changing your company. It doesn't matter how big it is, you can make a difference. So, get out there, get the information you need, get in touch with us, we can help you out, and get started today. It's really important.
Great, thank you. So just thank you for joining us today. I hope we have managed to inspire you on your business model journey. I guess before we close, there's just two final points we'd make. Please do approach us if you have questions that are starting to kind of develop in your mind as a result of what you've heard. And also, please do keep in touch with the REBus project as we progress. So the REBus website link is on this final slide we're sharing today. Also, through the homepage there's an opportunity to sign up to get to receive the REBus newsletter, which will give you periodic updates of the insight coming out of the pilot projects. And of course, you can follow the REBus projects on Twitter too. So, and Gerald's given a plug for a couple of great videos that have been launched. So please do follow the links, and thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you. Goodbye.